everybody. Welcome to Game Over Oh, wow. Welcome to Game Over Vancouver. My name is Kaja Mae, and the Vancouver Canucks beat the New Jersey Devils 6-4 in regulation. Now, before we get into the breakdown, here we go. Subscribe to SDPN down below. Follow SDPN Sports on Twitter. I'm Kaja Mae. You can find me at Real Kaja Mae, as well as Kaja Mae on YouTube. Okay. Apologies if I sound like this. I'm a bit sick this week. So, if I sound like Kermit the Frog a little, I'm not gonna do the voice. I can't do the voice. But if I sound like Stitch Pitch Down, that's why. I see you talking about the trip. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, first period before the game, it's announced Jack Hughes is out for the Hughes Bowl, so instead it's just a battle of the 43s. There's a lotto line. The lotto line, okay. There was arguments on Twitter about this, especially Thomas Strantz saying it's actually not the lotto line because Miller is centering instead of Pettersson. At the same time, it was always backwards anyway because Besser's the right wing. So, anyway. Semantics. Yeah, Miller got away with one there. Lotto line, they are not getting separated. I thought, they were doing good separately this season. No, they're not getting separated after this game. In the first 10 seconds, there's a good chance with Brock Besser, just because it can't get the right angle on it, but basically wide open net. Then we think Brock Besser has scored his 25th goal of the year. We think. But then he doesn't because he gets the rebound off of Pettersson's wrist shot. New Jersey challenges for interference almost right away. Lindy Ruff's looking down at the little screens. Yeah, pretty much Miller is in front of Dawes, the goalie, who's 23. That is so young. Especially for a goaltender, that's so young. He's in front of Dawes. Siegenthaler, yeah, he kind of pushes Miller into him. Dawes' stick gets caught in Miller's legs. At the end of the day, Miller's interfering with the goaltender. He's in the blue paint. He can't, do his job. And that's what goaltender interference is for. So the goal gets called back. Devils, they have trouble gaining entry to the offensive zone. Garland was doing Connor Garland things and, making people mad. The Canucks basically dominated the entire first period. It ended 0-0. In the end, they didn't convert on their only power play of the game and the period. But there were so many Canucks chances in that first period. Like, I'm just going through my notes here. There's so many. The second Devil shot was at 9:50 into the first period. The second Devil shot of the game. And it was a Mercer breakaway. Which, there were two breakaways, kind of. Toffoli kind of had one. Jules had knocked the shot out of play later on. Garland tried the spin in the first. He gets that later on. Höglander, he had a really good first period. Kuzmenko, I don't think he ended up factoring on the score sheet. I'm right. He actually ended up factoring in the score sheet. It was -1, but he had 6 shots on goal, 14 minutes, 44 seconds on ice. I hope that he gets to stay in the lineup. I thought he had a really good game. I understand, my Talkett's gonna look at that -1 and think, oh, I should, send him to Abbotsford, but, man, we're not getting into that. We're not getting into that right now. But yeah, Andrei Kuzmenko had a good game back. Carson Soucy was back for the Canucks, which is huge. He gets an assist in his return. Yeah, it was honestly, the Canucks were dominating the first period. I was a bit worried because when that happens, sometimes they let off the gas. Yes, that happened later on, like, obviously in the third period, they kind of let it go a little bit. Similar to the Senators game on I'm bad at math. Tuesday? Yes. Um, yeah, so that's why I was worried about that one. Lots of good chances. It was kind of like the Canucks were alive compared to the St. Louis game, and I understand it's the first game on a 7-game road trip. This is the first time they've won in New Jersey in, what was it, 8 years, 6 years? It was something very long. Luongo was still in net. Yager was with the Devils. It was a long time ago. Can Hronek was not accurate at all in the first period, and I was getting mad about that. He's gotten back into it. The Canucks, yeah, had a lot of shots. Like, I think they were almost at 20 in the first. Let me check here. They were at 17. They had 17 shots on goal in the first. 42 overall in the game, while New Jersey had 25. Because he had 6 shots on goal. Yes, he did have, like, he had a lot of shots. He had some pretty good chances. I do think that he should factor into at least one of the next 2 games, because it's back-to-back anyway. Yeah, second period, right off the hop. Hronek heard me. He didn't hear me. He saw my notes. He read my computer in the intermission, and just kind of hacked into my Notion, whatever. Didn't know he's a Notion girly like that, but I respect the hustle. Pettersson, 26th time the Canucks have opened the scoring this year so far, and this time it actually counts. 41 seconds in, it gets tipped past the blocker of Dawes, because basically every shot they were putting in was going directly into his pads. Yeah, so from Hronek and Hughes, it is 1-0. His 16th of the season. The Devils looked really tired, and I don't blame them considering how last night's game went. I didn't watch the whole thing. I kept up with it. Wow, that was a lot. There were, yeah, that was against the Blackhawks, and just look at their IR, the report this morning. You should, or I guess the Blackhawks IR report, and also Jack Hughes being out. So many chances. The Devils were kind of scrambling in the second period. They kind of woke up in the third. Was not expecting that, considering they had the back-to-back, considering the time they had last night. But yeah, Miller, immediately. They will not let the Devils rest. Besser tips the Hughes shot to Miller. The puck kind of goes off his ankle. Siegenthaler is injured on the shot block, and he leaves the game. There was, on the 3-0 Miller goal, hilarious move in the corner in the Vancouver zone, so miles away from the net. Mercer and Toffoli collide. Also, did Toffoli get a point? I need to know this. Tyler Toffoli did not get a point. Tyler Toffoli did not score against the Canucks for the first time. I'm kidding, but it's often he does. And I don't blame him. But yeah, Mercer and Toffoli collide in the Vancouver zone. The puck goes all the way back to the other end of the ice. Yes, Miller scores off Pettersson and Cole. It's a 3-0 game. I'll get to that record in a second. Then a few moments later, is the seventh Devil shot of the game, 6:50 into the third. Toffoli almost tied at the end, though. That is true. That's what I was. I was a little scared there. It was a nail biter. They don't taste very good. They're fake, but it's a nail biter. It was very similar to the one on December 5th. That game that we don't talk about. Anyway, another Miller scores 3-1. And it's not, another Miller scores, it's not the hat trick for JT, it is Colin Miller, who had not scored previously in 22 games. He scored 2 tonight. This one's off McLeod. The Canucks lose the face-off from McLeod. He's the best in the league. Makes sense. Even though Joshua beat him on a face-off earlier. Joshua's not a center. I respect it. Colin Miller shoots from the blue line. Cole's kind of screening, and he doesn't really stop it at all. Shoots from the blue line, goes over Demco's blocker. Yeah, that was a 7th Devils shot of the game. 6:50 into the 3rd. Can I write? Oh my gosh. 2nd into the 2nd. Lafferty had some good chances. He deked and then hit the post. He was a little bit too deep. Hasn't had the same kind of effect he had earlier on in the season when he would crash the net and then go whoo. Yeah, and then it becomes 3-2 with 23 seconds left. 3-2, Eric Halla off the rush. 23 seconds left. The Canucks are trying to change. Oh! Colin Miller, my mistake. They also gave Curtis Lazar an assist. So, good for him. On the Eric Halla goal, Jesper Bratt and Luke Hughes get the assist. Yeah, 23 seconds left. Canucks are trying to change. Devils speed up the ice. Odd man rush. Goal. Garland. 12 seconds after Eric Halla scores and makes it 3-2. You know, Prudential Center's going. They're raving. They're like, okay, we're going to get this back. And then they don't. 4-2, Connor Garland, 12 seconds after, wraparound. Goalie stuck on the opposite side of the net. The Devils get stuck in the neutral zone. Connor Garland has 11 points in the last 14 games. And the Devils fans leave the ice for the second intermission hearing the Rock boo. Not the wrestler, they're the Rock, right? I'm not making this up. Yeah, because that doesn't make sense for the Islanders. And MSG is MSG. I'm not mixing this up. I know there's a Rock somewhere. Probably. Third period, basically 2-ish minutes in, 5-2, Elias Pettersson, off the entry, Hughes passes to Besser, who's behind him. Besser backhands the pass to Petey, off the skates, and in! What a game. What a game. Yeah, Besser and Hughes. Then there's the first... Prudential Center is the Rock. Thank you. I was 99% sure about that. And then I wasn't. There's a penalty kill, the first of the period and first of the game, pretty much. Niels Oman gets taken off for hooking. Devils had good chances in the beginning. Demco came up big for the Canucks on this penalty kill. The Canucks had some shorthanded chances from, I believe it was Joshua and Bluger. Anyway, a few minutes later, after the penalty is killed, time moves on. 5-3. Colin Miller again. Who is Colin Miller, you might ask? Yeah, 22 games without a goal, dating back to last season. He has 2 tonight. Tierney and Smith get the assists. Rishot, less than 2 minutes later, 5-4. Smith, 3 goals from defensemen tonight. Canucks, these 2 goals, by the way, the 5-3 and the 5-4 goal, from the Devils, both were from the same play. Pretty much. Almost identical plays, not even 2 minutes apart. All the Canucks kind of focus more towards on one side of the ice. I couldn't figure out what side. So if we're going from the net here, left side. High left side, which is probably not, it's probably the high right side. Anyway, Colin Miller, EA NHL franchise legend, good to know. Yeah, no coverage on Miller, he scores. On the high right side, again, no coverage on Smith. The Canucks get stationary. They're too stuck in their ways. They get anchored down, and pucks. Before they know it, the puck's in the net, and it's 5-4 Devils. No, 5-4 Canucks. Devils get a 4th goal, and it's eerily similar to the game at Rogers Arena not too long ago. Now, I'm just thinking, Canucks, just keep it in the Devils' end. Keep it in the other end. Maybe we'll get some good chances. Okay. There's another penalty called. It's Dakota Joshua for holding. And it was a little bit of a weird play. He kind of reaches his arm out, and because of just the angle the player was at, he kind of holds on to him. They both get thrown around from each other, but it's called holding, which is an interesting penalty to take, considering a penalty happened on that penalty kill for the Canucks that they just didn't call. The ref is standing in the corner. Don't call it. I know it would put the Canucks at a disadvantage, and that's not good, especially considering 5-4. They obviously took their foot off the gas once Pettersson scored the 5-2 goal. At the same time, call the rule book. Like, that's the most basic thing of your job, is to call what's happening on the ice, and you just don't do it. Pretty much what happened is Luke Hughes isn't really paying attention. He's in his own zone. It's kind of near the beginning of the power play for the Devils as well. Luke Hughes in his zone. JT Miller comes through, blatantly trips him. Anyone in a 30-mile radius of any screen showing this game would immediately know that was a trip. He's completely, like, Canucks fans got heated about the, I think it was Kreider trip in the Rangers game when the Rangers ended up winning in overtime because of Keandre Miller, but there was not a penalty called on the obvious trip. This is basically almost the same thing, except for it was overtime. It was Kreider. Yeah. Kreider at OT, that trip. It wasn't called. Canucks fans are mad. Canucks fans are still mad about that, by the way. Oh, get over it. That was October. Anyway, in that one, yes, it was OT, so different kind of vibe there. At the same time, this is almost basically like you score and you assume you're gonna go to OT. Not really. It's kind of like 5 minutes left in the game, but actually probably closer to 4 because they did end up pulling the goalie later on in the power play. But yeah, so JT Miller trips Luke Hughes right in front of the ref. Nothing was called. The Rock is yelling down. There's people against the glass, like, pointing at the specific ref, too, that, like, just didn't call it. 2 minutes left, yeah. Yeah, Miller tripped Luke Hughes right in front of the ref. That... that was a blatant trip. I know it would have put the Canucks at a significant disadvantage, but you can't just let that go. Like, there's 2 refs on the ice. Ref, you suck. Besser's goal should have counted, and that penalty should have counted. I don't think Besser's goal should have counted, because Miller was kind of in his face. I know the rules aren't concrete when it comes to goalie interference, but it still seems like he was pretty heavily interfered with there, even if it was like his stick and Miller was being there. It's technically the goalie space, so Miller should have been the one to move. Would have called the penalty, they would have pulled it for a 6-on-3 earlier. Yeah, that would have been crazy. We would be talking about a completely different game that if they had called that penalty in the first place. But yeah, that was for the Devils. There could have been a lot more stuff. Miller couldn't move out of the way. I feel not exactly, because he was already kind of there, and then Siegenthaler came and started pushing him. Yeah, the refs, just interesting game tonight, but especially this. Yeah, Miller blatantly trips Luke Hughes. Maybe he'll hear about it from his captain. Maybe his captain put him up to it. Who knows? I'm not saying anything. Anyway, immediately after, well, not immediately after, the Canucks, after a few very close chances for the New Jersey Devils, the Canucks end up killing the penalty. Joshua comes rocketing out of the penalty box, and there's kind of like a hot potato back between Dakota Joshua and JT Miller, and JT Miller, he could have gone for the hat trick. Just saying. He passes over to Dakota Joshua instead. They kind of have a give and go there, and Dakota Joshua gets the empty net. It ends up being 6-4 Canucks, and they win for the first time in many, many years against the Devils in New Jersey. At the end of the day, Vancouver deserved to win, but we didn't deserve to get robbed of a blatant opportunity. Yeah, Vancouver was definitely the game. Vancouver was definitely the team that had the upper hand tonight. Also, especially because they're missing Jack Hughes. At the same time, the Devils definitely deserve to get that call. You can't play politics when it comes to the refs. You can't play politics and just be like, it's a few minutes left in the game, they're already on the penalty kill, we're not gonna... No, you have to do your job. So many other jobs, you don't do it, you get fired. You don't do that, you don't do defense properly, you get bought out and you go play in Florida, which arguably, go OEL. He scored tonight, he's doing great in Florida. But where's this double standard for the refs? They work so many years in this league. So many years. Too many years. And they get hyped up with their own personalities. Like, look at Wes McCauley. But at the same time, they don't do their jobs half the time. There's nothing, like, they can't do anything right. If you were, say you were a delivery driver, right? You worked for, let's say you were a Domino's delivery driver, okay? Somebody orders a pepperoni pizza and you deliver instead, like, 60 orders of breadsticks. You're getting at least written up. But if you do that, you're getting at least written up, maybe fired. But if you do something continuously over and over and over again, there's no discipline. There's no after the fact, hey, can you explain what this call was? Hey, can you explain what this non-call was? Hey, can you, like, be criticized at all without getting fined by the league? Like, it's so... This is game over Vancouver, and I know I'm defending New Jersey right now about the egregious trip right there, but it's just... The league needs to be better. Like, MLS officiating is on its own level of clownery, but at the same time, they're gonna overtake them. Yeah, the lotto line, insane tonight. Quinn Hughes, also insane tonight. He has 3 points. He had 3 points tonight, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 3 points tonight in 23 minutes and 38 seconds. He played a lot. Okay. Yeah, 3 points tonight. He breaks the most career multi-point games for defense tie. It was a tie he had with Alex Edler. You know, the guy who played defense here for a bajillion years. Yeah, they were tied at 68 games, or multi-point games for defensemen. He breaks that tie. He gets 69 multi-point games in his career as a Canuck, and as a franchise record. I was very scared that it was going to turn into what the last Devils game was, which, if you aren't familiar, which I feel like most of you will be, it's basically just, the Devils took I think they were also up 5-2 in that game. The Canucks come back to tie it at 5-5, and then with a few seconds, or like 30-ish seconds left in the game, in the third period, Jesper Bratt scores and makes it 6-5. And yeah, that was an insane game. That was the same night as the Christine Sinclair retirement game at BC Place. So from the stands, when I was like, okay, it's 5-3, after the game, we're leaving the stadium. After that game, it's 5-3. I'm like, okay, it's 5-3. And then by the time I'm in the concourse about to leave the arena, leave the stadium, it's 5-5. walk into Boston Pizza, immediately see the Jesper Brackle on the TV. Hilarious. Whew. I think that was a good game from the Canucks for most of it. You know, letting the Devils score 2 goals back to back in 2 minutes from the exact same spot, the exact same way, the exact same faults. I understand why Taka took the time out there. I do think that also 42 shots. Insane. Insane. That was insane. And yeah, 42 shots. Absolutely crazy. We didn't leave with giveaways. Vancouver. It's weird to be a Vancouver fan, or weird to watch the Canucks and be like, oh, it's good again. Myers needs to sit. Ooh, was he bad? I didn't notice him being too egregious tonight. I noticed Cole a couple times do some not so great things. Same with Hronek. Susie was great. I mean, Hronek was a +3, sorry. Juleson I thought was pretty good tonight. Cole, Hronek, Susie, great in his return, gets an assist. Yeah. Carson Susie was noticeable. I think it was more noticeable because he's, that was our first win in Prudential Center, yes. He was noticeable because it's like, oh, who is number 7? Oh, yeah, right. He's back. I didn't think he'd be back until later into the year, or at least into January. I was thinking closer to the All-Star break. Myers needs to sit. Nylander will accept an 8-year deal worth 11.5. I think they're close to it. I'm just like, is that a discount for William Nylander? Because like, isn't that less than what Matthews makes? But this Vancouver, game over Vancouver. I bring into that thought, what does Pettersson ask for? Because he's obviously gonna get more than Nylander. Botch the defensive coverage on the second Devils goal. Yeah, that's just Tyler Myers. That's just Tyler Myers. Toronto overpaying. The sky is blue, grass is green. He's like, what, 13% of their cap hit is gonna be the Nylander contract for 8 years? What a shot. I think Pettersson's gonna go for 13, maybe? 13 for 5? Is that the highest? I don't remember where the highest is. I feel like it's around there. Yeah. I was watching the first period and seeing the Canucks just dominating, flying around like crazy. I said, well, it's good we got 2 points last night. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you can do when it's a back-to-back. Like, oh my gosh, what was the Canucks back-to-back where they played, and then they played one night, and then the next night they played in Calgary. Wait, okay. The next night they played in Calgary, and Calgary just mopped the floor with them. When was this? I need to find this. Yeah, we beat the Islanders in OT, and Bo Horvat's return to Vancouver for the first time as an Islander. The next night we play in Calgary, and yeah, we lost 5-2. So that was great. That was great. I feel like Jonathan Huberdeau scored, but I might be mistaken there. Oh, he did. He did. He got 2 points. A goal and assist. Okay. Demco got his 100th career win? Dang. Wait, isn't he's in the top? Okay. He's in the top now. Hockey reference. Canucks historical stats. He's in the top 10, I think, now for goalies. Wait, no, that's not what I wanted. Career leaders. Wins. He's in 5th. Or no, he's in 5th solely now. He has untied Jacob Markstrom for 100 now to take 5th, and the Canucks win column. Luongo obviously leads. He has 252. That's gonna take a while to beat. Probably gonna take another Demco contract to beat. He's in 5th now. Yeah, he passed Markey. I was like, they brought it up last game, but then we lost. Yeah. So it's Luongo, McLean, Brodeur, Cloutier, Demco. Pretty good. I didn't realize how high Ryan Miller is on that list. Wow. Okay. He's 5th in wins. That's crazy. Yeah. I don't think we're a contender yet, but we had a the Canucks had a pretty good game. Plus minus over a single game isn't a good stat. That is so true. Because that's so true, especially considering I think relatively Höglander he had a pretty good game tonight. Overall, let's look at his last few games here. Is it going to show me stuff? Please show me stuff. Wait, I messed it up. Okay. Game logs. Yeah, -1 against, well, a -1 tonight. -1 against St. Louis. -1 against Philly. -1 against San Jose. Like, and we won that San Jose. The Canucks won that San Jose game. All right. I think Höglander's had a great time. Yeah. Kind of embarrassing the Canucks have only 5 goalies with 100 plus career wins. I have a hot take. I don't think that wins should be a goalie stat. That's just because, like, there's so much that goes into a win, especially for a goalie that, like, they can't control. Like, Demco should have a bajillion more wins than he actually has. But if the team was a little better around him for the last few years, maybe it'd be higher. But, you know, what can you do? He was basically standing on his head the entire few years, basically, and, like, nothing, no support whatsoever. They'd still lose, like, 3-1 because the Canucks just didn't do anything. It was also the first time the Canucks beat the Devils with Travis Green behind the bench. So that was nice. Well, not nice, but just, like, first time that happened. 10 more wins to pass Canuck. Great. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I saw something about the All-Star game. It was Hughes' parents' last game. Completely neutral while other kids score goals. Yeah, it's crazy. They are probably Ellen Hughes, underrated skating coach. She's trained she's trained the best skater in the NHL, Quinn Hughes, and Jack and Luke, who run into each other during games. That must have been a very fun night in the siblings group chat for Quinn. Who else do you think will join Quinn Hughes at the All-Star game this year, Harry? I think that it will be Brock Besser. I think I'm hoping Brock Besser gets to go. Otherwise, JT Miller or Demco, I believe, is also in the running. People are saying Pettersson. I'm like, it's so weird to think he was our all-star last season, and Bo Horvat as well, but he kind of had to represent the Islanders in the middle of it because he got traded. But I think Pettersson is actually, like, the 5th choice for the All-Stars right now, just considering Brock Besser's goal scoring, considering JT Miller was part of, like, the top skaters in points. Let me see what he's at right now. Okay, he's at 50 and he's behind. He's seventh. Seventh. I can do math. He's seventh. He's tied with Sam Reinhart and Mikko Rantanen. But yeah. He's behind the $11.5 million man, William Nylander. PD has been the third best Canucks forward this season. He can't go before Miller and Besser. Yeah, I mean he's 50th in points. It's not just also a points thing. I just feel like they kind of know he's the All-Star already. I know. Okay, Demco would be the goalie choice, obvious goalie choice. Um, I think yeah, Pettersson just because of the. I think it's more the storyline. I think for, Besser and then Miller, kind of having that run where he was not exactly arguing, but he was back and forth with Nikita Kucherov of all people, for points. So former teammate Nikita Kucherov. I think Pettersson would have been fifth choice. That's just my opinion. He has not had the top six winger for most of the season. That's true. They won't give him Kuzi because not a lot gets produced when he's with Kuzmenko on that line. Our first and prospects other than Villander and Lekarimeki are in play for a win now move. I'm good with that. I don't like okay. I with where the Canucks are at right now, the first time people are like, "Oh, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable." It is January 6th right now. So January 6th. I think that getting rid of prospects picks that are going to be late anyway because we're making the playoffs at this point. They're making the playoffs. And if I'm Patrick Alvin, I'm getting rid of those. I know he's also collected the same amount of picks Jim Benning did during his entire tenure. So when when the Canucks front office gives away picks now in trades, Canucks fans panic because they're reminded of Jim Benning. Just Jim Benning. Um Giving away picks now I think is not that big of a deal considering Alvin has shown that he can A get those picks back, B the Canucks are also doing really well right now. If we're going to the playoffs, if we need to prove to Pettersson that we can win and be a decent team and get to potentially well into the second round, I think that yeah, you need to spend a little to get a little. Somebody said Jake Gensel, and ooh, that would be weird to see him in a jersey other than the Pittsburgh Penguins. Probably have to rebuild the team after with all the UFAs. Our highest paid UFA after this year is Tyler Myers. I'm not very worried. Does everyone think PD's waiting for this Nylander deal to happen? No. I think they're very different players. Just because they're both Swedish, I don't think that's really a comparison. Maybe it is because they're both in their contract years. If Pettersson wants to look for another contract year person, look at like Sam Reinhart, Florida's All-Star. Um, I don't think he was waiting for Nylander's deal to happen. Yeah. PD is going to get paid more than William Nylander though. 11.5. Honestly, a steal for Nylander. He would have gotten more on any other team. It is for 8 years. Someone is going to get traded. Obviously, a top six winger is a top priority, but do you go for an elite top line winger or just a good top six guy and save some for another move? Ooh, save some. I'd say save, but also, like, what top six wingers? The boring thing about the NHL is like no one's available for trades because they all have clauses in their contracts. So you can't really make a huge splash at trade deadlines. But I think the Canucks, you know, I trust Patrick Alvin with his trade so far this year. I think that I think that he'll make some moves. Canucks front office, they'll make some moves. The Canucks will get most likely a winger, probably a good top 6 guy, not like an elite top line winger guy. And then probably a defenseman that's not gonna, Noah Juleson. Go for it while you can. Who knows if we'll be here next season. Okay, before we cry about not cry, but worry about next season, let's remind ourselves who the UFAs are, because it's not like a couple years ago when we were like, we don't have Besser signed, we don't have Horvat signed, we don't have Miller, we don't, like, it was all this, like, we had to sign Pettersson and Hughes the exact same time. Yeah, we have a couple UFAs. Brock Besser is UFA at the end of 2025. So is Andrei Kuzmenko. I know who I'm more comfortable with keeping. Is it recency bias? Maybe. Connor Garland is in the UFA for another couple years. Ilya Mikheyev, modified no trade clause, not a UFA for another couple years. Teddy Blueger's a UFA. He's our third line center. Sam Lafferty is a UFA. He's had a few good chances. Yes, he can play all positions, but who else? Linus Karlsson is an RFA. He's also waivers exempt and probably going to get sent down soon, because he's been scratched for a few. Dakota Joshua is a UFA. He's also making $8.25. Phil DiGiuseppe is going on LTIR, so that can be removed. Basically, our entire D-core is our UFAs, but I'm not exactly complaining. Juleson stays in lineup. Talkett, yeah. Yeah, because we have Tyler Myers, probably gone. Nikita Zadorov, I don't know if he's staying around. Ian Cole, I don't know if he's staying around. Mark Friedman, probably not. And then we have Noah Juleson, who's 2025 UFA, and Quinn Hughes is UFA in 2027. Casey DeSmith is a UFA next year. I'm okay if we re-sign him. I don't know. The Canucks have some good options. We still have Carson Soucy for a few years. Yes, we have to pay more for the OEL deal, but the cap goes up. I am not worried. Alright. What are you guys projecting for? Get your projections in for what the Canucks do at the trade deadline, or before then. Who knows? Who knows? They kind of just do anything they want all the time. And I will... What's Pettersson's... Okay, before we get into this. Pettersson's QO is 8.82. I'm sorry. Okay, he's getting paid. He's getting paid. Sorry. Okay. Make some trade suggestions in the chat and I'll read them out. Okay. Same roster next game. Trade Mikheyev, Kuzmenko, top 6 Oliver Wahlstrom. Juleson is one of the most improved D-men I've ever seen. That, yeah, he has made a great improvement through just this season alone, too. Oliver Wahlstrom, I do think Juleson can stay in the lineup. I think he'll stay, but I don't know if... Yeah, I don't know. He'll probably be a 7th D next year, too. Because he does have... But I believe his contract is a 2-way at $775. Does it say? It doesn't. Cool. Love that. Do you mean you trust Jim Rutherford? Because that is your GM, really. Front office. I trust the ex-Pittsburgh Penguins. Oliver Wahlstrom, Dante Fabro. A 7th round pick for Jack and Luke Hughes. I like that thinking, Duck. Not sure about the cap hit for Jack. but I do think if we got, that would be so funny. At the same time, as someone with younger siblings, would I want them to invade my space? Probably not. Um. Linus Carlson, not that good at this point. He's played a few. He's played a few games. Not really. He's been pretty decent at the Abbotsford level. He's part of the Swedish House Mafia. Yeah, 4 games, 0 points. He had 23 points in 25 games for Abbotsford this year. 49 points in 72 games last year for Abbotsford. Why do we think... No, do not bring Tyson Barrie onto this team. I've had this back-to-back years in Game Over chats for Vancouver. Do not give me Tyson Barrie. Please. Like, I get it. His nickname's Mother. Seems like a fun little vibes guy, but please don't bring Tyson Barrie onto this team. It won't be cheap with the regular season movement happening. Well, yeah, but if we get other cheap UFAs. That Russian D-man we got needs to bear down. When did we get a Russian D-man? Did I miss a trade? Hello? Is that Zadorov? Probably Zadorov, yeah. Declare for a 5th? I don't hate that. Duclair's a pretty good player. Went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year with Florida. Now in San Jose. Gensel and Ryan Graves for Kuzmenko. This is Kyle Dubas we're talking about versus Patrick Alvin. 2 of arguably the better GMs in this league. I don't think that's gonna... Stop coasting Zadorov, but you're not getting in the lineup. Ooh. Can you coast with that much mass? Dude's huge. Chronic repeatedly taking up more cap. OEL hits gets better, and that will take all the cap increase. That's next season. We're in the know. This is now Vancouver Canucks. Trade those picks. Trade... I don't know. Tucker Pullman's cap, I guess. Where's Guillaume Brisebois? He's still on LTIR. Is he okay? Well, obviously not. He's on LTIR, but yes. Is there a way to get Lindholm from Calgary? That's a rental, though. That's a rental, because we wouldn't be re-signing him. And also, that's in between... Like, obviously, Zadorov comes here because, you know, his countryman. But also, Dan Milstein's basically an AGM at this point. Which, it's rare, you know, inter-division trades, especially between Calgary and Vancouver, considering the history of these 2 franchises. I don't think there's a way to get Lindholm for right now. Rutherford wants ex-players he knows. Yeah. So, Gensel, maybe... Oh... POJ. That could be a choice. We could get his brother, too. Reunite. No, just kidding. But his brother's always in... Matthew Joseph is always in trade rumors, so who knows? Who knows? I wouldn't hate Jake Gensel on this team. Should we trade Juleson for how much value he has? I don't think so. Because, yeah, he has some value. I don't think he has, like, getting a lot back value. We're not going Noah Juleson, Jake Gensel 1-for-1 here. There would be other things in play. Gensel would be ideal, but the Penguins have gotten better, so who knows if he will be available. What does his contract look like? Jake Gensel. Oh, I spelt it right. Let's go. He has a modified no trade clause, so he does have a 12 tree... I can't speak today. What? 12 team no trade list. Yeah. Gensel's gonna... It's a $6 million cap hit. He was signed by Jim Rutherford. He's a UFA at the end of this season. I do think if the Pens were willing to give him up, potentially. Currently, he has 43 points in 37 games. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. That is not happening. Good point. Injuries happen. Keep all the D-men. We saw that with Carson Soucy. Immediately, alarm bells going off in Canucks fans' heads. Yeah, Gensel's not going to get traded unless the Pens are way out of a playoff spot. Where are they currently? Let's find out. Well, I hate to break it to you. They are, Alex. They are 7th in the Metropolitan Division. They're tied for points with the Capitals, but the Capitals have a game in hand and have a higher win percentage. What? I went Australian there for a bit. They are, 7th in the Metropolitan Division. They're only 7 points ahead of Columbus. So maybe that could put it into perspective. We find compete for the cup and then bolt for where he wants. Fair enough. 2 points out of a spot. Wait. Okay, I guess wildcard technicalities, but they're behind Philly, New Jersey, Tampa, and Washington currently for wildcard standings, and that's not even bringing up the Islanders, Hurricanes, and Rangers in the top 3 for the Metro right now. I think it would be very hard. They should trade Jake Gensel for anything they get. Okay, as a Pens fan, Dave, thank you very much. We'll take him. The Canucks played well most of the time. I feel like the Canucks played well for some of the time, I think, is just how you can sum up this season and a bit of last season, but last season was, we don't talk about that. This season, the Canucks, yes, they're playing well. Are they playing well for 60 minutes consistently? Most of the time, no. There are outliers. 8-1 for Edmonton. 10-1 for San Jose. At the same time, they gotta keep it up. Like, the Senators game did not play well the whole game. St. Louis game, they played period for 2 minutes. Connor Garland scores nothing. Connor Garland scores nothing else. Please get Jake a cup and treat him good. Oh my gosh. That's not so sad. He has 2. Right? Yeah, he was with the Pens for both. Alex Tuck or Sean Durzi. I don't know enough about Durzi there. He's with the Coyotes now, I think. He was a King before. Also, if Dubas is not a guy that sells, I know. Leafs. Unless it's Peter Mrazek, you're not leaving, buddy. Because where are the Coyotes? The Coyotes are also kind of in a wild card spot, so I'm not sure if they would, especially in the conference, they would not. I don't know if they would trade. Playing a full 60 isn't a real thing, but like full 60, I have to sit through 4-hour lectures. Okay, they can play for 60 minutes. Man, Alex Tuck, he's on the older side, I think. Sure. Wait. How much is he getting paid? He's part of the Eichel trade. Okay, he's 27. He does not look 27. I'm sorry, Alex Tuck. I want Malkin? Malkin is not leaving. He almost left Pittsburgh, but he's not leaving Pittsburgh. They have Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. They go for it, so they won't sell until they're like 15, 12 points out of spot, probably. You never know. Tuck will not get traded. Yeah, he's a modified no trade clause for 3 more years, 4.75 in Buffalo. Yeah. 26 points, 32 games. Oof, not sure about that one, but he had a pretty good season last year. Sean Durzi. This is a winning lineup. Yes. Sean Durzi, 1.7, for just this year. 21 points in 30 games. plays both sides of the D. Yeah, because the Coyotes are in a pretty good spot. You know, they had that run where they like completely ran through every former Stanley Cup winner in the last few years. I think that was like one of the first times in NHL history that's been done. Good luck for them that the schedule ran like that. But yeah, the Coyotes are currently third in the wild card rankings. So that's behind Seattle and Nashville. Yes, they're in the Central, but they still, you know, they're still a few points out of playoff contention for us. Imagine Crosby in Vancouver. Dubas will rebuild in a year or two. Oh, I feel why did they keep them all there? I mean, that's gonna happen, but Coyotes are fighting for playoffs. Yeah, the Coyotes are good right now. They're a wagon. They're a wagon. Crosby will never happen. He will retire as a Penguin forever like Mario, and then he'll own the team, and then keep playing. Before the last shift, I said, watch Talk, we'll put on Jules and Cole, and I was right. Yeah. Yeah, how about Dumba? Not sold. Not sold. How much is he making? He's on the older side. Yes, he's a defenseman, but I don't know. Like, technically, I guess he's good for playoff type hockey. Rough kind of stuff, but I do think the Canucks are pretty good in that department as aside from that. You know what? Yeah. What? Patrick Alvin, it is your mission. It's your mission to get Jake Gensel on the Vancouver Canucks. And I want it by the All-Star game. Thank you very much. I have been Kaja Mae. This has been Game Over Vancouver. You can subscribe down below to SDPN. Remember to like the video, like the stream if you're still here with me. It's amazing talking to you guys. Like Harry Mackey, potential NHLer next season. They said he might make it to Abbotsford. Let's see what happens in training camp. I think Pettersson is also coming to the AHL maybe later next year. Is what was said. Elias Pettersson, defenseman, DPD. Can y'all still Drysdale out of the Ducks? I like Drysdale for the Ducks, so I think I mean they are out of playoff contention. It is in the Pacific Division. I don't think that's much of a reach, but I think that the Ducks would want him to stay there. Who knows what can happen? There's still the NHL trade. I feel like it's late this year. Deadline 2024. Friday, March 8th. We have a lot of time. We have over. Oh, I'm bad at math. There's 29 days. This is too confusing. There's like over 60 days left until the NHL trade deadline. Yes. I think that's all I have to say for right now. I think that's all we have to say. Is that all we have to say? Leaves if he's top 6 as a cheap top sixer. Drysdale, he's young, he's still developing, so I wouldn't be so sure. Yeah. Subscribe to SDPN down below. Follow them on Twitter at SDPN Sports. I have been Kaja Mae. You can find me at Real Kaja Mae on Twitter. Kaja Mae on YouTube. Like the stream, like the video, rate and review. If you're listening to this on podcast platform, shout out to audio listeners here. Are you willing to give up Lekari Meki for Gensel rental? No! I watched the World Juniors. He was MVP. No, absolutely not. Not my GOAT, anyway. Good night, everybody!